Sam Ehlinger is just a fun player. He's someone I really enjoy watching, and I did put him in my top 10 quarterback rankings, which I think a lot of people maybe were surprised by, especially I put him pretty high, number 7, which was I did tiers, and I said the top 6 are guys like I definitely draft in the first round, and then 7, that's kind of guys I wouldn't draft in the first or second round, but would maybe pick up a little bit later. And I do think he is in that category. I think there is potential here. And I also just think that he could be like a Taysom Hill type. Honestly, it's an easy comparison, but there's a reason for the comparison because there is definitely some truth to it. So let's talk about Ehlinger, what he does well, and what could potentially translate to the NFL. So we'll start off with this play. This is a 3rd down and 21. So, Texas Tech, they're going to be in sort of a prevent defense a little bit. They're playing a cover 3 zone with an extra man dropping back into coverage. So you have 8 players playing coverage on this one. And you see the route that I have on the screen. That's kind of what you want to do, is throw it deep down there. But the issue is that while this gap looks like it could be an actual gap, the further down the field you get, just the further the defenders have time to, read the play and try and get in position. But watch, once this play starts, you're going to see Ehlinger step back. He does make this throw. And as you see, there is a little bit of separation here. Not a ton. It's going to be a very difficult throw. And it's also about 30 yards down the field. So that makes it difficult, especially when you factor in the fact that Ehlinger threw this ball from the hash marks on the top of the screen, getting all the way over to the bottom of the screen. It's going to make it a little bit further. But watch his throw. Just, perfectly where he wanted to put it. It wasn't caught, but that was exactly where he wanted to put it. And that's all that matters, of course. This one's another one where it's going to be, again, it's going to be the same exact coverage, this time only on a 2nd down and 7. But, okay, they're going with the Matt Patricia school of thought, 3-man rushes here, and you have a receiver running a deep route towards the sideline. Ehlinger takes the snap, and what you're going to notice is that, he fakes a screen to the right, then throws it deep, and again, not a ton of separation here, and you can see where Ehlinger would want to put this football. It's a difficult throw to make. But again, watch his accuracy. Very accurate. Not necessarily perfect, but pretty close to perfect. He definitely has a big arm and can be somewhat consistent with his accuracy, which is nice to see. And we can also talk about something like this, where if this is going to be something more over the middle, it's, again, going to be zone coverage. And again, this time it's going to be a route over the middle as opposed to a deep route. And really, I think this is very fascinating. And these are the plays I want to talk about, because the reason why I'm showing some plays against zone coverage is Ehlinger is just going to, when it comes to him, I mean, he's going to be the kind of guy where you're probably going to have to play zone coverage against him because he is such an athlete. You don't want to put yourself in a position where the opposing team has, 5 guys potentially turning their back, looking away from him, because then he can run with the football. So there's going to be some zone, and, it's going to be some play actions and stuff like that. And really how he can navigate that could be a big key for him having success at the NFL level. So watch, he takes a snap, fakes a handoff, and as of right now, this is just timing, right? I've circled a Texas Tech player. He's right in front of number 14, who Ehlinger is trying to hit. And this is just going to be timing. When Ehlinger makes the throw at the perfect time, that's how this can work. And watch him again, just beautifully thrown ball, and they're able to get the ball well past the first down. Just a really good play. And he has zip, he can throw on it. Throwing motion, not the best you'll see, but pretty good. And I should be clear for a second about my argument with Ehlinger. I'm not trying to say that he's as accurate as a Kellen Mond or a Mac Jones. He's not as accurate as Lawrence or Zach Wilson, obviously. He's not even as accurate as Justin Fields. But what he can do is he can just make some of those throws with decent consistency. And when you factor in the fact that he'll probably have a Taysom Hill-like role, you don't need to be perfectly accurate. You just need to be accurate enough. Look at Lamar Jackson. I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan. He's not the most accurate quarterback in the NFL, but he certainly makes up for it by his running ability, which just gets guys more open, and he can certainly hit an open guy. And I think Ehlinger could be in that same vein, despite not being anywhere near the athlete Lamar Jackson is. Like right here, this will be a good example of just, how he can run with the football. A bit to unpack here. So it's going to be end up going to be a running play with Ehlinger, obviously. He's going to run up the middle, and you see some of the blocks. You have multiple offensive linemen pulling around to block those 2 Oklahoma players. You also have another Oklahoma player, the one in the white circle, who's going to go out to the outside to cover the back, which really means that the one I've circled in yellow, he's the guy who could come in and try and make a play. But watch when he tries to do that, Ehlinger is just able to bounce off him easily and get into the end zone. And that's when I say, he's like a Taysom Hill like runner, because that's a very Taysom Hill thing to do. He doesn't necessarily have the most blazing speed. I believe he ran around like a 4.8, which feels right. That's what it seems like on tape, which is, for a quarterback, it's pretty fast. For like a guy who's supposed to rely on their speed, maybe not so much. I mean, Fields ran a 4.4, right? So pretty big difference there. But I think what the reason why I'm still high on it is because he can break tackles like that. So he's a smart runner and he can break tackles. And that's one of the ways that he could still have success and could be that goal line guy or 4th-and-1 type guy. If you want to have a Taysom Hill in your offense, he's not a bad Taysom Hill to have in your offense. My biggest negative about Ehlinger is really just he'll make some boneheaded throws. He just will. I mean, I'm sorry, but he'll make some throws to make you to say, "What are you doing? Oh, you don't need to do that. To do that, you can get off that read." He's a little bit of a one-read quarterback, as many of these guys are. Everyone talks about Fields being a one-read quarterback, and it's not untrue, but so is like most NFL college quarterbacks going into the NFL. Anyways, that's the one play that, it's a one-read quarterback thing, so I'm just going to show the one play. As you see, Ehlinger takes the snap, fakes a handoff, and at this point, it's just covered. I mean, this is just not working out the way you want it to, and quite frankly, this is not a throw that should be made. Admittedly, this is a good play from Oklahoma number 6 to be able to, cover this up, and also I think what Ehlinger is thinking is that there's a cut about to come, so clearly there could be some separation, and as long as you time it right, this could work out. And as you see, Ehlinger does time it right, but it's just a really good defensive play. It's just a throw I wouldn't have recommended. I mean, there's not enough separation to make that throw, and it's just not worth the risk of getting 6 yards to potentially throw an interception. That's just one example. Honestly, I could definitely show more if I wanted to, but I think that I've kind of, it's sufficed with just that one. You guys get my point. But I do think there's a lot of value. And that's kind of my thing about Ehlinger, and the reason why I have him where I have him in my draft rankings, which is the highest guy that I wouldn't draft in the first round and wouldn't draft in the second round kind of pairing, is because I feel like worst case scenario for Ehlinger, you still have a really good athlete who could potentially still help you out on the football field via a Taysom Hill role. Or, for certain teams, he could be a good scheme fit for, like, let's say the Saints decide Taysom Hill is going to be their starter. Well, now maybe getting Ehlinger so you can have sort of two versatile guys. And also, if Hill gets injured, you can plug in Ehlinger and don't have to change the whole offense. I think they might go with Jameis Winston as their starter, though. So who knows how much they would do that. You could argue Baltimore could maybe consider it. I know they have Trace McSorley, who I do like, but maybe they just feel like they want to have 3 quarterbacks given the nature of that position and how they run it with a lot of running plays. You might want to have, just more backups. That could make sense. I don't know, though. I just think that there's a value here, and I certainly think that he could play day one. He has value now, and there still is potential of maybe starter. I think that there is potential there. So that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.